and acceptance.
Hey, welcome to the tech capital of the world, Kernersville, North Carolina. My name is Bobby Davis here with my brand new Matrix themed background. Kevin, what do you think?
It's very Matrixy.
It's very green, isn't it?
It's very is Matrixy a word? It is now.
Yeah.
It is now. Yeah, let's go wide again. Look, there you go. Oh, you get your Matrix posters up.
Yep.
I
got my super rare original Matrix poster up. So
which one's that? The one with the people or the other one? Is that
the people?
The people one?
The one that's hard to find.
Okay.
So I had to order it from somewhere. I forget.
Well, I made my colors match yours. Look, I went with the green.
Okay.
Up here.
Yeah, you're in the Matrix too now, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly. Aren't we all?
It's
thing. Aren't we
apparently
all in the Matrix?
That's the theme of 4, so we'll see. You know.
So who here thinks we're in the Matrix? Put your hands up. That's
put a poll. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is a simulation.
There you go. Any Elon Musk believers here?
Yeah.
His logic was pretty good though. I did like his logic when he explained that. If you've never seen that video, go watch it on YouTube.
Okay.
It's kind of interesting. The Elon Musk like Matrix theory is a good video. He's eccentric, but he's smart. Speaking of,
pretty smart.
We didn't talk about this. Tesla went through the roof yesterday. Stock price. You see that?
I didn't see it.
Yeah, they did on the back of Hertz saying they're buying. I think it was 100,000 Teslas for their fleet.
Wow.
So I think it was a big number. I forget. It was 100,000 or 10,000. I forget what it was. It was a lot. They're buying a lot of cars anyway from Tesla. So their stock yesterday went through the roof. It shot 20%, something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you're
I made fun of our friend Coding Phase, Joe Santos said that he didn't like Teslas. He thought they were like a really expensive Honda with cameras.
Oh, I mean, kind of like any car is. I mean, a Ferrari's a really expensive Honda, isn't it? I mean, with a really fancy engine in it. Same thing, right? I mean, I don't know.
I said, well, actually, it's a really fast Honda with expensive cameras.
That's true too. Hey, if you've never been in a Tesla and all you know about Teslas is that they are electric cars, what you don't know about Tesla and what most people never tell you is it's ridiculously fast. I'm talking
if you stop at a
rocket
stoplight
ship fast.
You go to a stoplight and you see someone from Street Outlaws, you're like, hey, let's go pink slips. I think I got you in my dad's Tesla.
They're insane. We both know someone who has one, and we've been in the same Tesla. And it was like when I first went in there, he's like, you might want to just put your head back while I put my foot down, because it was like, I want to show you how fast it is. Like, oh, okay, you don't have any fast cars. And I was like, that's like a rocket. It is like a rocket. It is like a rocket.
It does throw you back in the seat.
It does.
Definitely Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
So maybe Fast and Furious will go to Tesla cars.Maybe that's when Fast 11, they're all electric.
Maybe. I'm definitely in for the electric car move. It doesn't. My problem with them is just the mileage. It's just how far can I go on one, and do I have to rely on sitting there for another hour at a supercharger while I get a charge?
Pretty much, yeah.
The inconvenience just kind of sucks at the minute.
Yeah.
It's all right if you're using one close, though, around town.
Yeah, if they could make an interchangeable battery or something. Yeah, I know that's not possible, but you just change batteries out.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some way of kinetic motion charging is what I'm thinking. It just charges itself as it moves.
Machine.
Loud, amazing. Exactly. Yeah. If somebody can just come up with that, just let Tesla know. What's it called? The
perpetual motion machine.
Perpetual motion machine. Yeah. If somebody can just come up with that, just let Tesla know. Put it in the car. I'll buy one then. So I'm not asking much. Not asking much.
Not much at all.
All right,
couple things. Hello to anybody here.
There's tons of people here. There's lots of people here. Okay. Let me just pick a few here, and I'm just sorry if I missed the first few people that are here, but I'll throw a few of you guys up here. I'll say this if it's gonna work. There we go.
What's up, Sean?
Sean's here. Let's say, and 17 Hero is here.
I like it.
How's your team doing, by the way? I don't know how Spurs are doing. I do know. No. Wilfredo's here. Let's see. Fabrizio, welcome. Jade is sending good vibes, which is an emoji that just comes across as good vibes.
Good vibes. Okay.
because they didn't do a very good job of sending across all the emojis. I don't know. We'll do some questions too. Some of you guys sent some questions, so I'll get to those as well. Charlie's here. Welcome. Jacob's here. Let's see. I can't. How would I pronounce that? Bill
step 3.
I'm just gonna go with Bill. Bill has Tesla for the win. So yeah, I like it.
Step 3 T3.
Amin is here. Hey, Amin. And I'm queuing up. Like I said, I'm queuing up some of your guys' questions too. So.
Yeah, so while he's looking at some hellos, just remember you can always super chat us today if you've got a super question you want us to answer. And then definitely, this team's doing bad.
At least you can acknowledge it. So, some people say, no, we're rebuilding.
We're good. We're good.
Whatever. Exactly, we're good. Exactly, we're good. And Clara's here too. Hey, Clara.
Hey, Clara. So like the big news over the weekend, the whole thing about hot reload controversy with .NET and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
it was very controversial, drama-filled weekend for .NET.
It's a drama around nothing, in my opinion, but that's just my opinion.
I know. So like I thought it was interesting. Like the Twitterverse, definitely on Tech Twitter, exploded with this calls for people's heads and things like that, yelling at people, and some of them got ugly. It was kind of crazy.
So we're all making a video about hot reload, so to go into more depth about
it. So we'll probably get it out tomorrow, probably something like that.
Yeah,
so,
we got to put some more. We could put in a little bit of chrome around it, whatever, and we'll get it out there. Talking about what it is and whatever. Basically, it is what you think it is. It's kind of like that. It's basically that like real time refresh is kind of what it is, which we didn't have before for this. For this for compile program, right? For the compile,
right?
Stuff. So it was like now it works.
Real time refreshing, but with Microsoft and .NET, it has to work on multiple things. So like it has to work in WPF, WinForms, UWP, Xamarin, .NET MAUI, Blazor, and ASP. So like they've got a lot of targets that they're trying to make this all work on one thing. Yeah. And with .NET 6, if you're not moving to .NET 6 from .NET 5. Definitely all of the hot reload features are going into .NET 6 going forward and forward. So like they're not going to go back and add these features in .NET 5 because I think it's a really particularly tough engineering problem to solve, and they're not going to go backwards compatibility. So, that's one thing. It also runs at the command line. So like, like a lot of people were using something called .NET Watch running at the command line to refresh their apps with scripts and things like that. And what caused all of the controversy was that Microsoft, like basically 2 weeks from the GA availability of .NET 6, pulled hot reload out of the command line interface and said that it was only going to be in Visual Studio.
Yep. So I saw massive amounts of misunderstanding about just that part of it over the weekend.
Yeah.
People were just like, you're pulling it and putting it behind a paywall. I don't know where they got that from. But like, you're putting
they're saying that. I guess they're saying that Visual Studio can cost money in certain circumstances, but there is a community-free edition, And then I do believe this. I do believe that there's other third-party products out there, maybe on Linux and other platforms, that were using this to build .NET applications, and I think that stuff is still under development. They still have loads of issues that they've got to work through trying to get it out. And I think what they were trying to do, not the best way to do it, saying that we're just going to develop this feature in Visual Studio 2022 going forward.
Right.
Trying to get it correct. And
they wanted to launch it on one thing first and make that work and then use it everywhere. But they went they just all they did was they made that decision and then just pulled it from the other thing, and people noticed they pulled it, and because they didn't mention it.
They just deleted the source code out of the CLI version. So a lot of people got upset because it's supposed to be open source, supposed to be transparent. They accused Microsoft of creating features that only exist in their paid product of Visual Studio, and abandoning open source community, and everyone's upset. People are jumping off bridges, and cats and dogs are living together. I mean, it was just crazy.
It was crazy.
So everyone thought it was the end of the world. So Saturday they put it back in.
Right. Which
2 days later they put it back in.
Right here. Look, I have the tweet too. Look. So
it's back in.
Hunter came back and Reload is back in .NET CLI, and they put out a blog post about it. But he said exactly what we said. They pulled it from that product as a thing to say we need to focus on putting it here first correctly, then we'll come back to this. They just didn't communicate that. So what people took that as being like, you're putting it on this one product only, and you're just abandoning all the open. Like, whoa, chill. You assumed that. You didn't know that's the case. You just assumed that was what happened, but that isn't what happened. They kind of clarified what it was.
Yeah. So I think that is one of the big things is that they did listen to the community. They did put it back in. So to be fair, .NET CLI and Hot Reload was working under some of these use cases. It was definitely working. Now, notably, which I find funny, is JetBrains is the maker of Rider. A lot of people said, hey, what are you going to do now that Hot Reload isn't in the CLI? And they're like, oh, well, we have our own Hot Reload, which was kind of funny.
Right. They've already solved that issue.
Yeah. What I did find interesting about that is that Rider is a purely for play product. The only way you can get Rider is pay for it. So they didn't have an issue with them. They just have an issue with Microsoft. So, I do think what I've told a lot of students here is this going to impact your life? I don't think so, man. I mean, I really don't. I mean, like,
I will go as far as to say it definitely
of the users are on Visual Studio on Windows. Microsoft is looking at where everyone is at.
Yeah. And
they're going to make Visual Studio 2022 on Windows the best product they can.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Oh, thank you, Austin. Appreciate it.
Austin,
the horror.
It's true.
That's my Ghostbusters reference. So, so they, I think they're going to make, that's always been the flagship product. So products like Mac on Visual Studio has always been lagging in the features behind Visual Studio and Windows. VS Code is a really great product for a code editor, but it's not Visual Studio either.
Right.
So they're never going to make those two products on par, I don't think. Now, can you write extensions for VS Code? Yeah. Can you make it do MVC and those kind of things? Yeah. Can hot load on the CLI help you do that? Yeah. So I think they're still going to keep that in there. I just don't think they thought it was ready for prime time. Yeah. Notably, .NET MAUI was delayed, and one of the reasons was the reload stuff. So they're just trying to get it kind of squared away and be focused on it. So I don't think it's going to keep you from doing it.
And N17 Heroes has switched to Rider on the Mac, and I've heard other people say that exact same thing too, which is great because it means you have another option. It just means Microsoft have work to do on that version of Visual Studio on the Mac. They just do. Somebody in the chat or somebody in the comments on a video the other day from one of our previous lives had talked about Visual Studio on the Mac, and I forget what we said about it. There was some. We
said it wasn't
the same. It wasn't as good. That was it. It wasn't as good. And we're like, it's not. It's not the same product. There's not feature parity between the two things. There just isn't.
But somehow they thought I was insinuating that Macs aren't good. I'm like, no, I use a MacBook. I'm using Parallels on Windows.
Yeah.
And Kevin almost had me get an M1 Max. I had to just cut it off. And
I was this close. He was this close because you were on the window. You're like, I got to close the tab. I'm
about to drop $4,000 on a laptop. I don't need one right now. So I have to talk to the CFO about that. See if I can get him a laptop. So
you know what's going to happen though? When mine comes in, you're going to be like, oh, that's fast. Because those initial benchmarks and initial things have come out, and people are like, wow, this is fast. I told you I saw a demo of a video. Somebody editing multiple streams of 8K video stacked on top of each other with multiple effects, real-time playback on one of these new Macs. Not even the top of the range one either. So I'm super excited to get mine.
It's looking pretty good. So I think it would improve my export speed too, just coming out of things.
No question.
I saw some of those. Camtasia, the Adobe Premiere, and the things that I use would be improved faster.
Definitely. I saw some.
Save me hours on that.
I saw some video export things encoding ProRes, where it was on a. It was on a highly spec 2019 Intel Mac, and it took about 20-something minutes. That same encoding took about 2.5 minutes on a fully spec'd out new M1 Mac. Max. So I was like, wow, that's a giant difference. 10 times faster on video encoding. That's nuts.
But I think it's pretty cool. And I sent you the thing from Tom's Hardware that they didn't poo-poo it, but they said that, in certain scenarios, it wasn't as fast. But then when you looked at it, it was like, where they're comparing it to this workstation, render box. You know,
exactly,
it's
like a $60,000 machine. It's literally
like,
10 times the price of the most spec'd one. Of course,
still
it's
a laptop,
be
man. I mean, like, it's kind of amazing. So Apple hasn't even released their workstation stuff yet. So like, once
that's
going to
be nuts. When the M1 Mac Pro comes out and they put 4 of those chips on one die, it's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts, and that's gonna be you're talking about tens of
titanium
thousands
wheels.
It's exactly
titanium wheels.
Tens of thousands of dollars for the machine, but it's gonna be you basically got a supercomputer on your desk. Is what that's.
Yeah, it's gonna be rendering things out. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. What questions do we have? Anything else we want to talk about real quick?
Hey, I want to talk about one more thing first.
All right, one more thing.
Before we do, I put out a new T-shirt.
Yes.
So
you got some love on the internet, man. People liked our take on the WASM to the Moon T-shirt. Kevin made that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. So as we were talking about WebAssembly, like on one of our last lives, I was like, oh look, let's I forget what we were talking about. We were chatting about something, and I was like, oh WASM, like it kind of reminds me of NASA. So I kind of made a NASA-looking WASM to the Moon shirt.
Comes in multiple colors, black.
Yeah, so I made it in this cool like NASA blue one. There's a black one too with the red on it. There's also a white with the red, and then I made an alternate version too, a hoodie and just a straight black and white. And then I went for the WebAssembly purple. So you can
WebAssembly purple. I like it.
If you want to really call out what it is, you can get the WebAssembly purple version. So you can check that out. The link to that is actually, I think, should be in chat. Top of the window, should be pinned. If anyone's interested in grabbing one, you can. I'll leave them up for at least a while. I don't know how long, but I'll take them down eventually.
So I can't wait till mine comes in sometime this week. We should get our WASM shirts.
Yeah, we have ordered them. So as will be on the way. Yeah.
We have to order them too. So
we do. Takes a minute.
So we're rocking the WASM here soon.
I don't. N17 wants to know when's the "What Would Bobby Do" T-shirt coming out.
People would buy it. We'd make it.
I like it. Maybe I'll throw one of those together too. Maybe that's the next shirt.
WWBD. What is it? What was that thing?
That'd be it. Yeah. That's it. What do we do? Maybe that's the next one.
Bracelets and everything. So
maybe. So. Hey, you've been using Visual Studio 22, but not on the Mac, right? You've been using Windows version.
So I'm using VS 2022 on Windows.
Okay.
But the Mac version's getting better. It's still not on par with Windows yet. So you can go read about it. Someone asked me, you're gonna have to go read the release notes to see kind of what's in it and what's not. There's a lot of differences between the two pieces of software. Yeah. I do believe that they're trying to get them on par. I just think that
they are, for sure.
There's a lot of effort to go. Now, what it is a native Mac app. So I think that's the big thing for a VS22 on Mac. So it's the first release that's like that. So that's kind of cool. So it's not open mono, it's a native Mac app. So it's kind of cool. So it should be a lot more performant. So
is it funny original? So
not yet. We're waiting for it to clear.
There must be some tax implications with it. That's all I can think of, because it's going cross-border. There's got to be some kind of tax thing going on there. They're holding it for some reason. I don't know. We haven't seen a penny yet. So
the CIA is looking at it, probably. Like,
maybe.
Hey, why are suddenly getting $1 million? So coming from England.
And Tech Rallies never came through either. So I don't know. And he needs to go back and have a beef with Google about that if they took the money.
But if NC-17's 1 million does clear, we will send him a free WASM T-shirt.
You can get one in every color, actually.
And one in every color: the purple, the black, and the light blue. So that's kind of cool. So.
Yeah. I like it. This is a hope so because the funds left my spare change account. It's just your what do you call it? Your online spending account. Just your impulse buy account. I like it.
Yeah, him and Musk hang out. Like Elon hanging out on the weekends.
Yep.
So.
Okay. Let's do some questions then.
All right,
see
cool.
What we got here. What have I queued up a bunch? So let's go back to the beginning here. So let's just start out. Not a question first, but Sean has second in-person interview for .NET developer position on Thursday, so that's awesome. Hopefully that goes well. And also another one, look, on Thursday afternoon for a non.NET position, but I'm guessing another developer position of some kind. So that's cool.
If you get to that softball phase, you usually can win, Sean. All you gotta do is be nice at that point, and just see.
Being nice is key. I mean, that is the thing. That's what they're looking for. They just don't want, grumpy coder guy showing up.
Cultural fit interviews are usually pretty easy to get around, so that's good luck with that. Sounds promising.
Definitely. Some more. Man, you guys are killing the chat today. I'm kind of trying to keep up.
Okay, cool.
Let me see. Okay, let's do the next question here. Let's see. Charavati, hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly. If I'm not, I apologize. But working as a backend developer in Java and Spring Boot, what are the technologies I should look up for considering the future of web dev?
Since you already have a job, I definitely think you need to look at C# backend stuff, Web API, and also I think Blazor WebAssembly is going to be huge this next year in 2022.
And we made a WebAssembly t-shirt. So
yeah, I think that's the two things. Since you're already working, I think that's the things that you can look at next to add on. And learning C# coming from Java, Spring, it should be fairly easy for you to do. And you'll still make your living doing Java Spring, but then if a Web API C# job comes up, then you can tackle that job as well. So I think that would help you out a lot.
Yeah, it's much easier to make those decisions once you're established and you're already making money, isn't it? Yeah, it's easy. Yeah, it's easy. You can all you're going to do is look at kind of what's popular, and then the answer really kind of is learn what's popular. Whereas when you're first starting out, there's more things you have to take into account rather than just like what you see on Twitter.
Right. Having said that, man, November 8th, we have a big announcements coming out that we have huge things that we want to talk about November 8th.
We do.
That same week is .NET Conf. And so Visual Studio 2022 gets released on the Monday, and then everything .NET for the rest of the week about the new release, and it's covering that. One of the seminars is how to make an NFT with .NET, which is I will be watching that one.
Very interesting. It's funny that you say that too, because it's Adobe Max conference this week, and Adobe just announced like hours ago, maybe even minutes ago. That's why I'm not really sure. It wasn't that long ago. I saw it right before we came on. But they're adding basically an export as NFT to Photoshop. So when it's baked into apps like that, and we're talking about it in a .NET realm, and it's at a conference, it's worth looking at.
Yeah, and I have a good idea for NFT now, so I'm going to make one. And it's not in the art realm.
Okay.
I want to use it for something else. So I think I got a good idea. So hopefully this will enlighten me at the conference, and I can figure out how to make one, how to mint one, and what do I do, and that kind of stuff. And then now with Photoshop, you can make the art for it, and then we brand it and then mint it, and then people can go get it.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that. Interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Let's see. I'll show us a question about the self-paced course. It says, when do you estimate the Web API React course will go live? Did you mention fall, winter, spring now? I know it's been busy.
I'm working on it right now. Just to let you know, I'm working on it right now. So I'm building this stuff out right now. This would be Web API plus React plus Blazor is what I'm doing.
Yeah, we just don't have we really don't have a date. We want to get all the other stuff done first, obviously. I don't know, we're kind of late on some of that stuff.
But I'm hoping to record on that this week or next week, something like that. And then it takes a minute for us to even get it out after that. So still this fall for sure. So we'll be out here soon. Tech Rally, what's up, man?
What's going on? They're capping you? Oh, I see you've been spending too much on here, apparently. Let's see, just capping you at $5.
At the bottom.
It says also the portfolio review motivated me to start my portfolio course. Okay,
cool.
I like it.
I like it.
Cool.
Yeah, check
Thank you.
Rally out.
Thanks, Alex.
And check him out. He's got a good YouTube channel over there. So
are they really capping you at $5? That's kind of crazy. You just did you let one insufficient fund at some point or something? Like they're like, YouTube's not getting the money. They're like, nah, I can't trust you. Or you just look sketchy, Alex. Is that what it is?
He's making Amazon bucks.
That's it. Right. That's it. Oh no, but they know he's with Amazon. So Google's Google's blacklisted him.
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, let's go to what we got next here. So Charlie has a small question. Is specialization in data science good after my first year in college?
If you want to do data science, I think it's fine. I mean, like what I've always said is pick what you want to build and then learn that. So there's nothing wrong with, I know some guys that I play Destiny with that are in the data science realm, and they make a living doing that kind of stuff, doing exciting, kind of interesting work, looking at different things that they, in the medical realm, like MRIs and things like that, trying to kind of auto read MRIs, things like that. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, I think it's an exciting realm, and it does lots of things. It's just not as big as web development is, as far as like the sheer number of jobs. But hey, specialize. I think specialization is a good thing to do. Hope that helps, okay. Charlie.
Let's see. Eduardo Sanchez says, I want to get into the .NET ecosystem. I already know C#, but I don't know where to go from there.
Okay, once you figure out that I want to build a website, just look at ASP.NET as an umbrella of everything web development inside of .NET right now. So that's kind of your next step. Visual Studio, ASP.NET, and inside that is web development with MVC, web development with Razor Pages, web development with Blazor WebAssembly, Blazor Server, Web API, and even how to put React and Angular front ends onto a C# web app backend, serverless functions. There's a lot of things to go inside the ASP.NET ecosystem. So I think that's where you should go.
Cool. Nice. I like it. So Sean broke the $5 roof. I like that.
He broke the roof. That's hilarious.
Nice.
He broke the roof.
So hold on. What you're saying, Sean, is you're saying it's not us. It's definitely Alex. This is what we're saying here, right?
Tech Rally. So
that's funny.
It's definitely Alex.
That's really funny.
501.
Oh, that's good stuff. Okay. Let me look here. What do we got next? Faith says, it's Fatih, sorry. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Says, is Apple M1 great for .NET development? With .NET 6, can we become more .NET proof?
So here's what I would say. If you get an Apple M1, which I might get one, I would run Parallels on that M1, and Parallels runs on the M1 architecture. So by default, you can run Windows on your M1 and Visual Studio 2022 on your M1, and it's going to be, I would imagine, lightning fast.
Based on what I've seen so far, it's going to be.
Now, I haven't seen it run Parallels yet, so there could be some dorky thing where Windows doesn't run well on it, and it's slower than what I have right now, but I doubt it. I think it's going to be really fast.
And if it is, it's going to get optimized real quick.
Yeah. So Parallels being very dependent on Mac hardware, they're going to optimize that thing to run Windows on that hardware faster. So I do believe that it's going to be a great environment for you if you want to run Parallels. If you want to run Mac, Visual Studio for Mac, just check the release notes. If you're already coding it for a living, you may not like the VS Mac versus VS Windows. VS Code's going to run well on all of them, so that's not going to change. So if you're doing something else on VS Code, then I think that's definitely going to be fine. So I don't think you can go wrong getting an Apple M1. So,
yep. By the way, just back to the last question too about where can you learn the .NET stuff. You could always
you can definitely learn.
I forgot the shameless plug. I'm terrible.
You can learn it. Shameless plug.
You can go to learn.coderfoundry.
Head out to learn.coder Foundry. We have our self-paced course or our our in-person virtual, which starts in January. So that is filling up. So you need to hop on that train. I know it's only October, but if you're thinking about starting in January, come and talk to us right now. So anyway, kind of cool. What else we got? Who else can we help out today, Kevin?
Okay, let's see. What do we got here? Amin wants to know if we can convert to live podcasts. It's funny, we've had a few. I've seen 2 or 3 people ask about this recently. Maybe that's something we might be able to look at for these. I don't know. I've never really looked at it, but it's not that difficult to do. I do know that we could turn these lives into a podcast. We probably wouldn't do a separate thing as a podcast. Or maybe we could.
Okay, yeah, we would just turn this into the podcast, right?
Yeah. So it's just audio.
It's another place where you can find us. It's something we probably could do, but export the audio.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
I'll take a look at that. I'll take a look. Okay, Alexander Stevens says, there are 2 top choices for a laptop for programming. Biggest bang for buck. And 2, I'm a broke student living off of ramen. Where can I get stuff done? Hold on. That are your top 2 choices for laptop for programming. Oh, the biggest bang for the buck and 2. Okay, so you want something that's going to work that's cheap. So an M1 isn't the answer for you. That's what I'm guessing.
No, it depends on what you mean. Like, so if you need a sub $1,000 laptop, it's not the answer.
Right.
So like,
which I'm guessing is what you're asking.
Yeah. So if you're sub 1,000, there are other laptops that will perform adequately so that you can code on them. You don't have to get an Apple M1X to code. That's for sure. I mean, like, you can do it on lots of things. I would say that for Visual Studio, running VS64 is going to help a lot, so that you don't have to have as much RAM on it, making it work. I mean, it's going to be a lot more performant. So i7 with 16 gigs of RAM should do it. You should be able to get a laptop like that with an SSD for under 1,000, at Dell or any of these places.
Yeah, I think most of them are like that. So let's see, Josh, the 499, I like it. Are visible tattoos a hindrance in the developer world? Currently a coding bootcamp student graduating in March.
Well, if you've got them, you got them. So like,
I don't think it is. I think it's.
I don't necessarily think it is. I mean, define visible on your arm. That's probably okay. If you've got like, a Deadpool mask on your face. I mean, that might be a deterrent.
I think I would totally agree. I think there's yes, if you're on if it's regular places where you have regular tattoos, I think it's fine. If you have facial tattoos, I think that could cause you a problem for sure. It's just going to cause you a problem in life. I'm sure if you do have that, you know how that is. Right. People just discriminate against you because of that. It's just they maybe for whatever reason, that's just the way that it is. I would say though, in a lot of worlds, including the developer world, but just in employment in general these days, it's become so common. At least it is here in the US, and I'm guessing you're here in the US, but at least in like the Western world for sure. It's like
everybody's rocking tats. Everyone's rocking tats.
Yeah, it is totally the norm.
Yeah. So but what I would say let's say you do have visible tattoos on your face. I wouldn't let that stop me from applying.
No.
Keep chasing your dream and try to find the right job for you and the right place for you that will hire you. And
yep.
So, but
and win on your work, right? Win on your portfolio. Win on your work, when they first see you, they're already impressed by the work that you're doing. It's a formality for you to show up and talk to them for a few minutes to make sure that you're not weird, right? I mean, that's what you want it to be. You want to already have them sold on your work.
But I would say this. I mean, in general, all of these personal presentation things matter. So what I've tell a lot of people all the time is like, if you're rocking a beard, it's fine. Just for the interview, neaten it up. So you don't want to look, full like ZZ Top, but can you trim it down a little bit and get it neat and tidy? Same thing with haircuts and things like that. Just get it neat and tidy for the interview. Wear a nice shirt and I think a blazer over top of it. You don't have to necessarily wear a tie, but like a button down, a white button down with a blue blazer works. If you're a guy, if you're a lady, wear business clothes going to it. If you're in person, either in person or on Zoom. The other thing people don't realize is on your Zoom calls when you're interviewing, make sure that background of your Zoom call is neat and tidy. So let's say that you have your Zoom, your workstation like in your bedroom. You live in a 1-bedroom apartment or something like that. So your bed's unmade behind it during your Zoom call. Just make sure all of that stuff is neat and tidy. Even if you're interviewing, I would actually move it to where it's just a wall in the background, or at least use the blur. The blur can look kind of weird sometimes if you move around like that. But in general, I think being neat and tidy in general is going to help you in interviews.
Yeah. The blur is a kind of a last ditch thing if you can't make the space look nice. And if you can't, the blur is well better than it being messy or bigger bedroom or really anything.
And then having Zoom backgrounds is kind of in a professional environment kind of look down. They're funny at first. Everyone does it at first, but now it's kind of like, look, it's Tony Stark's, armor hall behind me. It's like
right.
It's not super pro.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny, but it's not super
pro. No, that is the other thing too. Yeah, go neutral. There's plenty of neutral things to do. A blur or even some of those like virtual offices are okay. Yeah.
All right, Alex. Hope that helps.
Yep. Let's see. A technical question for you. Casey wants to know thoughts on using Azure Active Directory external identities in an app, or would it be better to build your own auth?
So there's 3 ways to do this. Build your own auth is not what you want to do, but there's identity services inside of a C# app that you can host the user accounts in your own database. So you don't have to use the third-party auths. So there's also Auth0, which is another type of same thing. So if I was choosing between Azure Active Directory and Auth0, and it was the only app that I was doing, and I was just implementing Azure Directory just because, I would pick Auth0 over it. Now, if I have other reasons, other resources, multiple things, I got my company tied into it, Azure Active Directory makes a lot of sense for large organizations. If I'm building a standalone application and I don't want to learn the ins and outs of identity under like ISP identity, which I think is fairly easy to do, you can learn that at learn.co-foundry. I would look at Auth0 and use a third party like that. The cool thing about Auth0 is that you can also use their hosted option, which means that when they get to that login page, they're hosting the login page. And so that third party attack is going against their infrastructure, not necessarily yours. When people try to, what they do is like reverse bomb it, which means that they're trying to trigger a password reset. And then they have control of an email account. And when they hit that login page so many times, it triggers a password reset. And then they look at the email, and then they can reset the password and get in if they don't have like something like 2-factor installed. So you can, they have these built-in slowdown things that can keep it from happening. So if they see a 10,000 requests coming in a nanosecond, they'll slow that person down over time, and eventually they won't even be allowed to log in. So that's kind of cool. But I definitely think if you're talking about build your own auth, I don't think that's what you want to do. Use a built auth system. If you're using C#, ASP.NET, that is built into what we're doing. We have all of this kind of built-in security that can leverage Auth0 or Active Directory, or, hosting it in your own database. So all of those things are kind of built in. So it gives you a layer in between the mechanics of how it's done. So anyway, I hope that helps.
Okay, the next one, Alex says, for Web API, do you log every request or just requests that alter the database and errors? How long do you keep the logs? What APIs do you guys build in your coding bootcamp?
So one of the things we're building the coding bootcamp is an API for our blog software. So like what we're doing there is for you authenticate against the API, and then what that does is return a list of blogs for the latest set of blogs, like the last 5. And what it allows you to do is take an HTML site like your portfolio, and then use JavaScript fetch to fetch that API, and then it brings back and lists them out. So that's kind of one of the things we're building. Now, in the self-paced course, what we're building out right now is a full-blown application. So the entire application is Web API with all of the endpoints built in with security, so that you can build an entire application with something like React or Blazor that doesn't have server-side code in it. It's just a front-end technology, and Web API is our server-side code. So logs are up to you. You can log every request if you want to. Doesn't matter. I mean, so it just depends on what you want to do. And then the logging is up to you, how long you keep it. So there's a lot of logging APIs that you can hook into to do that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Hope that helps, Alex.
Charlie wants to know your opinion on Pegasus software. You use Pegasus?
I don't have one. You'd have to Google it for me, Kevin. I don't know that one. So
I recognize
it sounds familiar, but I don't know exactly what it is.
Yeah, I don't know either. Hold on, let me look. Yeah, it doesn't really come up as a. It's not easily Googleable, so I don't know.
Maybe you can give us a little more context, Charlie, and we can maybe. But I don't have an opinion on it. Sorry, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I should know everything, but I don't. So.
Oh, that's what the internet's for. The internet knows everything. Jay just says, hey guys, join the self-paced course. JS concepts easy to grasp. Thanks a ton. I wish I had found you guys sooner.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you for
build those
joining.
projects, Jade. Build them all. Build them all. Repetition is the key to winning in this arena. So like build them all.
Yep.
So there's a lot of them in there. So it's kind of cool.
Me Ryan P wants to know, how should I overcome imposter syndrome? I've learned multiple languages and understand the concepts, but I can't complete a project because I get discouraged, feeling like I don't know enough.
Okay. Well, take a project-based tutorial and build that project from soup to nuts, and then change it.
Yeah, because you won't get discouraged. You'll be able to build it because you're kind of following along.
Yeah. And then build it without the videos, and then try to redo it, and then only watch the videos when you're missing a piece, and then try to change it. So it's a 3-step process. I think that'll help you out a lot.
Yeah. So build it with a video, build it again without a video, then build something similar.
Yeah.
But not quite the same.
And also, too, you can list the reasons you can't complete the project. Like, list the gaps in your knowledge. You're like, I just don't know how to do this, and I don't know how to do that, but I know how to do this other stuff. So maybe you're just missing pieces that you don't know about yet how to do something like security or routing or something like that, and you don't really understand how that works. And that tells you where else you have to go learn, or what things you need to Google, what tutorials do you need to watch.
I'll also say, based on the fact that you've said I've learned multiple languages and understand the concepts, I will also say you're probably chasing down many rabbit holes.
Too many.
Yeah, chasing too many technologies. You're kind of seeing somebody says, oh, go do Tailwind and Bootstrap, and then also do React and Angular, and it's like you're trying to learn a little bit of all of them, but you never fully understand any of them, and that's just frustrating.
Yeah. All right, hope that helps.
Yep. Thanks for the question, Ryan. Creative Art Supplies wants to know, do you guys do live portfolio site reviews? And actually, Cheddar wants to know as well, when is the next portfolio review?
We've done them. We'll do them again. We'll wait a couple of weeks and
maybe we'll do one. Maybe we'll do one next week.
Okay.
We have enough to talk about again already.
Yeah.
So I'll put up a community post again, probably the end of this week. Have you guys submit again, and we'll do another one. Do another next week. So yes, we do, and probably next week.
All right.
I'm Innocent Creator wants to know React.js or Angular.
I think both. Pick one or the other. Look at the job areas and where you're at. We're gonna do React. That's what we're gonna do. But like, that doesn't mean that we think Angular sucks. It just means that we got to pick one of these.
Angular does more, right? Angular is bigger, right, than React. It does more things.
Yeah, the kind of sort of the but like generally React's made by Facebook, Angular's made by Google. They're both JavaScript front-end frameworks. So learn one of them, and then you should be able to pick up the other one if you had to. But definitely React seems hot right now. Doesn't mean that Angular's not hot. It just React gets a lot of buzz in tech Twitter for sure.
It does.
So
it does. Let's see. Will says, love the WebAssembly merch. Ever going to get the CF hats like Kevin West? No, unfortunately.
So those are sourced locally. We can't get those in our store. I would love to put them in our store, but
they were also very, very expensive.
Yeah,
you guys wouldn't buy one even if I put it up.
It's a Nike dry fit golf hat, which is absolutely the best baseball cap on the world.
Yeah,
and then it's got our logo on it. So
I think that when we bought them, they were like $40,
$30.
Yeah, they were 30 something. They were 30 something.
$32 or something like
something like that. They were very expensive. So you guys wouldn't even want to buy them at the price. They were expensive.
But that is a cool hat, though. A lot of people talk about it, so it's kind of cool.
Yep.
Hopefully, you can get a WASM shirt. Will send us a picture of you wearing it, and we'll post it.
I want it. Yeah, I need to ask for that. Actually, anybody that does buy one, tweet it at us. Send us a pic so I can retweet it. Let's see what else. Oh, here's a good question. Lalit says, I stammer, which is taken as sketchy in tech interviews. I think that's probably your perception of it, though, Lily, just to confirm that. how do I present myself better so that my stammer doesn't overshadow my tech skills? That's a great
So
question.
you've probably been living with this longer than I have. We've worked with individuals coming through the boot camp that do this, and we've given them techniques. But in general, slow down is a thing that you can do. And then I don't think that it's not going to definitely, it may hurt you with some people, but like you stammer, so like you just got to get through it, like so like it's present your projects, having a definitely detailed pitch in your session, your interview, that where it's practiced and pitched, will also help you, so that you're not trying to think of words or trying to think of things. You know exactly where you're going. I think that can help you in your presentations. Definitely, if you're talking about code or whatever, what we've noticed is people, the more nervous they get, the worse it becomes. And so how do you overcome nervousness? By being prepared and pitched and very on schedule with what you're talking about. So definitely demo a project that you know really well can help you overcome that. So don't let it make you more nervous by thinking they're not going to like me because I stammer, and then it just compounds to it. You can just say, hey, I have this issue, but I really know what I'm doing. So
I think that's it. I think it's okay to address it. Yeah, I think it's perfectly acceptable to address it. You're like, because they know that you know, and you know that they're gonna know. So you might as well just be out front and just be like, but trust me, I'm good at this. I know what I'm doing. Here's my work. Like, I can show you what I can do.
Right.
Yep. Confidence.
So build confidence through preparation, I think, would be good.
Yep.
Hope that helps. Good luck in that.
Okay. Hussein, I'm hoping I got your name correctly, but I have no idea the best place to learn MERN-Stack.
There's got to be a bunch of those out there on Udemy, so where you can go learn MERN-Stack, Mongo, React. So like,
I'm not sure. It's not in our wheelhouse.
Yeah, so I would imagine that you can go to Udemy and get a course.
Here's a softball pitch for you. Best backend framework to start as a beginner.
Here's what we think, and this is what we're thinking. You're starting out as a beginner, and your goal, I would assume, is to get a job. So you got to learn what's going to get you the job, not what's the thing that they say to start the beginner with. So if you start as a beginner and you learn a stack that's not in demand, then you got to learn the second stack to get a job. So you might as well learn the first stack that's going to get you a job to begin with. So we at Coder Foundry, we say, not what's easy, what's necessary. And I think the best backend framework right now, still to this day, is C#. And if you're building JavaScript front ends, that back end can be Web API. So C# MVC is very close to C# Web API. So there's not a whole lot of difference in how those operate. One returns a view, one returns JSON. That's pretty much the difference between them. So good help. Hey, Tyron, how you doing, man?
Tyron, thank you. Says, hello, I've been learning HTML and CSS for over a month now. When is the right point to add JavaScript? Also, is it okay if I stop using vanilla CSS?
You can use whatever you want, man. I mean, but I like vanilla JS. That's what I use. But
I'm saying vanilla. It says vanilla CSS.
Well, you can use. CSS. All right. So yes, move on to Bootstrap. I think most of the sites you're going to be working on, I think it's somewhere in the 80% range is Bootstrap sites.
That's a lot.
So you're going to have to learn that eventually anyway. So now that if you know what CSS and HTML selectors are, and you kind of know like how CSS kind of works, then Bootstrap should be fairly easy for you to pick up. And then start learning JavaScript now. So just check it out and just start learning JavaScript now. Yeah, you're going to need to know all three of them pretty much.
Definitely. Don't feel like you need to fully understand every single aspect of HTML and CSS. If you're kind of comfortable making a few things, move on. You can always come back to it and reference it.
Here's where I would say, for being a web developer, where CSS, where you can stop learning. If you're at the point where I want to learn CSS animations, you can stop there. If you're at the point to where I'm going to create things in CSS like artwork, you can stop there. You're never ever going to use that as much as you probably would think. And when you get to the point where you have to do that, then those are things that you can learn in Google at the time. But like, I see a lot of, even this morning when I was in my Twitter feed, someone saying, hey, you should learn everything about CSS because developers complain about CSS being quirky. And it's like, yeah, we could spend 2 years studying CSS as a topic, but like, remember that person that's writing that tweet is already working as a dev or as a front end, and they've got 5 years experience. They're not thinking about how much they knew when they started, which isn't what they know today. They know more today than they did 2 years ago. So what I'm saying is learn enough to get a job doing this, and then continue to advance your skills. I'm learning more and more about CSS and even things in HTML all the time. Kevin saw a sample project that I started building out because someone showed me the color picker in HTML 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I'm like, I didn't know that existed. So then I went out and built a color picker site, just messing around with it. I think that's kind of cool. Even at the stuff I've been doing for 20 years, there's things I learn all the time. And so, but that doesn't mean I can't write a site. And it doesn't mean if someone came to me before I knew this, said, hey, we need color picker functionality in this website. Yep. I would have found that, probably pretty quick, Definitely. I would say within minutes, so like, oh, that's easy. I can do that. So exactly. I think we need to stop focusing in on like, I need to know everything before I can start working. I need to know enough to get a job and then be committed to your craft as you go on. And so it's always learning. So just think about that, Tyrone. You're never going to know it all. So you might as well start getting paid for it. So that's how I look at it. But learn JavaScript. Look at JavaScript now.
And thank you for the super chat too, by the way.
Thank you.
Zach wants to know, have you guys seen what's going on with Lambda School? What are your thoughts? I haven't.
Have not. What's going on in Lambda School? So I don't
just
know.
Looked it up real quick. I didn't really see a whole lot. There's always weird stuff going on there, but I don't comment about that. Pratyush, hopefully I pronounced that correctly. I butcher some of your guys' names, don't I? I really apologize. But how to prepare for the next job while working?
And I'm assuming we're talking about like you're working and you're learning to code, or you want to change careers, but you got to work while you're changing careers. What I tell people all the time is, if you have to work full time and learn how to code at the same time, it's going to be a grind. I mean, like all your free time is committed to the next thing that you're going to do. So, people talk about burnout and those kind of things. I get that, but pretty much, you work 8 hours a day or something like 10 hours a day or something like that. And then on the weekends and at night, you're going to be fully immersed in trying to learn how to code and get ready for that next job that you can take. So it just means that your extracurricular activities, are going to be coding instead of watching Netflix or jogging or doing something else, So anyway, I hope that helps. It just means that you just stay committed to what you're trying to do and use your free time that you have to work on that next job. So that's kind of what my advice is. Hope it helps. I know it's not easy, but like you can do it.
Okay, I like this question. Let's help Brandon out here. Brandon has his first tech interview in an hour. I'm going to kind of rephrase this a little bit. But what's a good question to ask the company? And also, why not let's tell him what's a bad question to ask the company too?
Here's a bad one. What's the turnover rate of executive staff?
Yeah,
it's a terrible question.
Also,
how much does health insurance cost?
Exactly. When can I take my first vacation day?
Yeah, another terrible question. So remember, tech interviews in general, Brandon, are exactly what they say: technical interviews to gauge your ability to do things. So during a technical interview, you keep everything technical. So what's a good question for you to ask the company? Hey, what are you guys working on? What are the projects that you're working on? What are the types of things that that your team works on? Get them talking about work is another thing that you can do, I think, in a positive spin. Yep. Show interest in what they're doing. So imagine if you were dating someone and you talked about you the whole time and you never asked them, about them. It makes it difficult for them to figure out if they like you or not. People work with people they like. And one way to endear yourself to others is to ask them genuinely about what they're interested in, what they do on a daily basis, and what types of projects are they building, those kind of things. And if you don't know the stack, then, but if it's obvious, but even if you're even at a FANG company, you would definitely not know exactly the project you're working on. So, you know, so if you're interviewing at Microsoft, am I working on Visual Studio or internal finance? You know, so you could be multiple things that you could work on.
Yeah, it is win-win, because you're right. You engage the interviewer because they're going to be able to talk about stuff that they know and it's of interest to them because that's what they do for a job. But also you're going to also find out a little bit more information about what you're kind of going to be doing, like what is the job a little bit more. So it really is a win-win question.
The other thing too, Brandon, is if they ask you technical questions and you don't know the answer to them, make sure that you get the contact information of the interviewer, and then tonight, Google those things up and send them a working solution the next morning. That does work too. So even if you bomb like how to reverse a string or how to check for a palindrome or something like that in a whiteboard challenge, send them a working solution that you can present to them in GitHub or something like that by tomorrow, within 24 hours or something like that. So they still remember.
We have 100% seen that work multiple times. So
multiple times.
We've seen people hired off the back of having a bad interview, bombing on a solution, sending that solution the next day, and getting the job. So
so just try that out. All right, hope that helps, Brandon. Good luck, man. Tell us if it works. So
come back and let us know. I want to know how it went. Let's see. Luke wants to know, how do you balance coding time and running multiple businesses?
I leave at 8 p.m.
Hold on. Sometimes later. I've seen much later than that. 8 p.m.'s like a regular day, isn't it, for you?
Yeah. I call Kevin on Teams at random hours. Like, hey, you want to look at this thing I built? And you're like, dude, it's 7. You know, what are you doing?
But I'm normally here. I was just like, I'm
normally around.
I was like, let's look.
So right now I'm trying to get this, I don't want to go into the details, but I'm trying to make it to where I have more balance. But like there's still some things I want to do. I also really like working on and in the business too, instead of just on it. So there's a lot of people in my position would be more hands off, more removed, and they would just hire lots of people. I still like building a curriculum, so that just takes hours. So I like doing it. Yep. So anyway.
Oh, look at that. Alantonio Alantino. Thank you. Oh, should I say Alantino Alantonio? Because that'd be your correct name first, right?
Yeah.
But you get the joke. Right. Have you guys heard of this Codesmith Bootcamp? Hold on,
I haven't heard of them, but like, what's his question?
You guys, the Codesmith Bootcamp. They go super deep into vanilla JS for $. I just think it's going deep into JS that necessary.
Taka.
It depends. Thank you for the Taka money. I guess it depends on, like, is it an academic pursuit? Then sure. But do you want to pay for an academic pursuit?
You build projects. So I think if you're not building projects at Codesmith, it's not worth the money. But I don't want to talk bad about any boot camp and start a war with any other guys. We're out there trying to teach people. But in general, I think how you gauge is, am I building something that I can show someone else at the end of the day? Or is it a lot of like tutorial type things that don't lead to projects? I think building a project from soup to nuts is the best thing that you can do, because that's what you get paid to do. And so that's what you need to do. So knowing how all of this works, but not how it's all put together in a professional sense does you a disservice. Doesn't mean you don't learn stuff. Doesn't mean that you can know, the JS filter backwards and forwards. But if you don't ever filter anything that matters, then it doesn't really make sense why they do that stuff. I think you can go super deep into vanilla JS. I don't know everything about vanilla JS. I'm on the MDN docs all the time looking at different things that it does. But I think if you know enough, you can look at the other stuff. You're never going to memorize this anyway. So you're going to end up gravitating to the things you use all the time and then learn things as necessary for you to build things. So, anyway, I hope it helps. I don't know I don't know about Codesmith at all.
Yeah, they're not.
Someone from that's watching this, I'm not saying you're bad. So, I just, I have no idea. So, I think that build projects. If that's your building project, you're good.
You can tell one thing about us. When somebody asks about like another boot camp, we clearly don't keep up on like what other boot camps do necessarily. We just know what works. We keep an eye on like the market and what works in the market. We don't look at what other boot camps do. They can do whatever they want to do. Like, doesn't really matter. Like,
I've heard some boot camps will use Udemy courses as their courseware. I think that's bad. I think if the boot camp won't tell you what the courseware is before you start, I think that's bad. So there are some bad boot camps out there. I'm not going to name check them because, I'm not like involved with those people. I can tell you at Coder Foundry, we work really hard on our projects, and the things that we build are the things that we're building, and it's the curriculum that we're building. So we're not ripping off someone's Udemy course and calling it a boot camp. Doesn't mean you can't do that. It just shows to me like lack of creativity, so, like you're not really even committed to your own courseware. So like, I think that's great, but I don't know anything about Codesmith.
Right.
But knowing JavaScript's a good thing for sure. Thanks for the tacos, man.
Yes. Thank you so
much.
much.
Sounds like taco time. So.
It's almost that time. Let's do Clara's question here. So would you do a simulation video of you demoing a project as if you were in an interview? We have this video, don't we?
Yeah. But what she's saying is, what if you demoed your software and made a YouTube video and then put that on the web and put it on your portfolio? I think that's what you're asking.
Is that the question?
I would do that. Definitely.
Would you do a simulation review demoing? Oh, yeah.
You also,
okay.
You could practice that way too and rewatch it on playback to see how you presented it, to see if what you did worked. Like, oh, I could have been clearer there, or I should have went here, or I fumbled here. So you could use it both ways, but definitely demoing a project that you built and putting it on your portfolio via YouTube or something like that isn't a bad idea. So I think it could work.
Yep, definitely. I was just looking to see, because we do have a video of a mock interview too, don't we? Somewhere.
Yeah.
That you did with Antonio. See if I can find that at some point. I'm not quite sure where it is on our channel. But we do have that too, so you can kind of see that, just in case that's the.
Okay. Cool.
Let's do one last question.
One last for the road.
Mohammed wants to know. Oh, I got a super
Brian super chatted $9.99. He broke the $5 barrier today.
Brian, thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it.
And we're having deluxe tacos today. We're having the what's Supreme Taco Supreme today. We're having the lettuce and the sour cream and everything today.
Yeah.
So Mohammed wants to know, does age matter?
Does age matter when applying to jobs? Here's what I think. The one thing you cannot change about you is your age. So it's not going to matter because you can't control that. You're either 25 or you're 55. It doesn't matter what your age is. You have to go out there and win a job. Now, are people going to judge you on your age? Sure, they are. It's kind of the way human people are, and does it right? Again, it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong.
Yep.
They're in the power of hiring you. So what you have to do is overcome whatever you think your perceived age needs to be. Because we have people that say, is 28 too old?
Oh, yeah. And we joke about it, but that is true. We definitely get that question.
28 too old? I mean, like, man, no. I mean, that's great. So, like, it doesn't matter what your age is. What you can do is show your experience. So if you're older, hey, man, lean into your experience. I can tell you this. If you have 20 years experience in .NET, you're commanding a pretty hefty salary right now. So if you started when you were 30, that means you're 50. They're not worried about that age. I mean, they're not at all. They're hiring people that know stuff. So if you can overcome that with your portfolio, your demo, your technical skills, and your ability to answer technical questions, ultimately you're going to get a job anyway, and it doesn't matter. So you can't control it anyway. So I would put it out of my head thinking that this person is going to hire me because you name the age that you think you should be at.
Right.
So yeah, if you're 98 and you're interviewing for a code job, they might judge you a little bit.
I don't know. They might actually hire you to put you on the front cover of their newsletter. You know what I mean?
So one of the funniest things that I ever saw was happened to be in a board meeting.
Just so we know.
Yeah, I'm 26. Dude, you're not, age doesn't matter.
So definitely not.
No, one of the funniest things ever was I was at a board meeting one time, and people were giving their 5-year outcomes for different divisions, and I was just sitting in on this board meeting as a guy, and there was a guy in there that was 87 years old. And so he had this department he was working on, and they asked him, they said, so what is your 5-year plan? He goes, my plan is to be here in the next 12 months. That's my plan.
Wow.
I'm 87, man. I'm not thinking 5 years ahead of anything. I'm just getting through the next year.
Yeah, he's like, what am I doing tomorrow?
Exactly. Everyone started busting out laughing. So, there's a savvy veteran getting out of writing a 5-year plan.
Yeah.
By saying I'm not be here, so I'm not going to write one. So.
Yeah, my plan is just to exist within 5 years. That's a pretty damn good plan when you're 80 something. I gotta say.
26. Yes, that's ancient. So you're good.
Yeah, I think you're pretty solid. Yeah. Oh, actually, there's one last thing. Ridge Racer. Ridge Raider. Sorry, Ridge Racer. Great game, by the way. Used to love that game on the PlayStation. Just reminds me of your name. Just reminds me of it. But yeah, you sent me this tip, and actually, it is a good tip. But cleaning up your laptop before an interview. And the suggestion to create like a demo account, probably a good idea.
Demo account, definite multiple desktops.
Yeah, exactly. If you have a desktop and your background is questionable, I mean, even if it's okay. Here's the thing. So you can get caught in a bubble, right? You can be like, if all your friends are all into anime, and anime's cool, and you think it's just the norm. You're in a bubble, and everybody has an anime background, right? And you go to a job interview. Trust me, everyone doesn't have an anime background. What you think is normal and acceptable might not be normal and acceptable. Exactly. But it is in your bubble. So go vanilla. Go straight vanilla. Your background should be a bland nothingness. It should be a color, like
a color, a gradient,
just
a mountain landscape or something like that, But I mean, it should be just very generic.
Very generic is the way to go. Yeah, and just make sure you're right. Just make sure that it is clean, and that is a good tip. Maybe we'll add that to our little tip thing. I do.
Another thing too, it's like if you're interviewing and like even like video game backgrounds, like you might have this rockin' Destiny 2 background, which I would look at and go, "Oh, that's cool. That's neat." Though. Yeah. Some of us, with some guys in my age, would go, "You waste your time on Destiny."
Exactly. That's exactly what they do. Oh, this dude plays video games. He's not going to work.
Right.
That's what's going to happen.
Same thing with sports teams, especially if you're interviewing in the Midwest. Okay, if you rock something that's not Ohio State, I promise you're not getting hired.
Yes. If you try and get a job in Columbus and you're rocking a Michigan background, forget it, man.
You're not getting hired.
Get it.
I had a friend of mine who was an avid Ohio State friend, Ohio State fan. They got mad at me one day because I had a blue and gold Nike turtleneck. It was just blue and gold, like
Michigan.
He says that just screams Michigan to me. It's like, okay,
yep.
You're upset over my turtleneck, man. I mean, like, wow, okay.
I had I'll tell you the story real quick. I had somebody ask me about my Instagram name. It was another Kevin Doyle, and he was a Michigan fan, and that was one of my deciding factors in not wanting to give up my name. And I'm like, nah, not gonna happen. Among many other things, by the way, it wasn't just that, but it was. And I was just like, nah, not gonna happen.
The same true as if you're in England. If you're Man U or Manchester or whatever that is. There's like don't put that out there if you're interviewing for a job. Wait till you're working there where you can
exactly. Then you can reveal that stuff exactly.
Yeah.
You don't want somebody to have an unfair kind of bias against you that's just ridiculous. People will say like, "Oh, I wouldn't consider that," even if it's subliminal. Also, they do.
Unconscious biases are real. Like you'll just decide you don't like them.
Yep.
But then there's, the hate for for Michigan is real though. Like that's real.
Oh, I'll say
Michigan, man, that's real.
Like it's legit. Yeah. It's the greatest sports rivalry. One of them. Out there.
They're serious about that. So anyway, I hope that helps. Hope someone gets a job this week. Sean, good luck. Hopefully you get a job. Thanks for all the super chats today. We will be back on, what is today? Thursday? We'll be back on Thursday.
Tuesday,
right?
so we'll be back on Thursday. Yep.
We'll be back on Thursday. So good luck and keep coding. Thanks a lot for all the super chats. See you guys later.